December 5th, would everybody join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'm gonna, just a couple things before I get a motion. I'm gonna move number 11 on our consent into regular business. And then item 6 on our regular agenda regarding indigent council, I'd like to take that off of the agenda for today because we're not ready for that. So with those changes, can I get a motion to approve our agenda?
So moved.
Thank
Second.
you. Got a motion and a second. Will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. And then regarding the items that are on the consent agenda minus number 11, can I get a motion to approve the consent
So
agenda?
moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any public input? Anybody want to remove anything from consent? All right, if not, we call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes, that motion carries. All right, first item under regular business. Sherry, you want to come up?
Good morning, Sherry Lund, Lincoln County Auditor. Last meeting, we had requested, or you'd requested that the legislative audit letter be moved to this after you had a time to review it. The letter is the position of Lincoln County regarding the audit for 2022. So we just need the approval for the chair and myself to sign it. I also, if the county would like to make a comment regarding the 40% that we were over, we need to have that comment turned in before David leaves today.
And do you have any suggestion for that, or?
Basically, it would be the same thing that I said last week, that it was
Okay.
the $10 million from the ARPA fund that was put in there and we just didn't move it in. My next agenda item is gonna be the discussion regarding the 40% for this year.
Okay, all right. Commissioners, do you have any questions for our auditor? Okay.
I move for approval for you to
Well,
sign.
I haven't asked for a motion yet, so hold on. Any public input on this agenda item? All right, if there's no public input, I'm switching things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Now you can make a motion.
All right, I make the motion that we sign.
right.
Sorry, a little ahead of time there.
All right, I got a motion in a second. Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion carries. Sherry, you got the next one.
Okay. Per the audit that we had this year, we discovered that we were over the 40% per SDCL 721-18-1. This is just a discussion about setting that assignment for this year at the end of the year. Well, I'd like to wait until December 26th to set it. I've showed you on the briefing form the calculation for figuring it out. And as of November 28th, it'd be about $18,296,047 that we would have to assign. But that, of course, is gonna change because we're gonna have 2 pay meetings between now and December 26th.
So as far as assigning it, where are you recommending that it be assigned?
So I have been talking to Terry in the highway shop about a different way of doing his budgeting. We were going to do a average of his expenditures over the last few years. So I'd like to probably put an assignment of cash for that, because in case there is a road project or something that comes in, since we're gonna be doing averaging, not what he thinks is actual, then we would have that funds available there to assign, or to transfer, rather than doing the cash applied at the beginning and then seeing if he does, or if he ends up having any. I'd also like to we're going to need to assign next year's cash applied, which is 7 million, whatever it was. We'll assign that. And then I'd like to assign about 2 million for capital outlay accumulations. That'd be for future projects or whatever capital outlay projects we have. Haven't completely committed to that one yet, because there's SDCLs that would limit it more, do other things. But the actual assignment is going to come from you, but those are some of my recommendations, and we can go over it more on the 26th when I know exactly what we're looking at for cash.
All right, commissioners, do you have any questions for Sherry?
So how much money are we requesting here?
I'm not requesting anything today, but if I was to base it on November 28th dollars, it'd be about $18 million that we're going to assign. And assigning cash simply means that you're moving it to a fund for intended uses. It can be unassigned just as easily as it can be assigned. So if something were to come up, mass whatever disaster, we can unassign it and move the money for anything else we need. We just need to say this is our potential use for this money.
All right, any other questions? All right.
We
and-
don't have any other options, do we?
Well, not according to SCCL, we don't, no.
Spend it.
All
Okay.
right. So we'll discuss it further on the 26th of
Yes.
December. Okay,
Yep.
so no action today?
Nope.
All right, well then I will wait on taking any public comment on that until we have a specific plan that we're taking action on. We'll move on to item 3 on our agenda. Morning, Wendy.
Good morning. I am just here to provide notice that the 4-H Shooting Sports Club wants to do their annual raffle again, starting in January when they have their first practice, which is January 14th. So just requires a 30-day notice before they can start, so.
All right, no action needed from us? Okay. Then you've got the next one as well?
Yes, Chad Hazel from the Fairgrounds Foundation was going to be here today, but he's unable to be here. But we have met the foundation has met as a group and has come to the conclusion to do plans for the swine barn and cattle barn that are the same as what the sheep and goat barn is, that is currently up out there. The swine barn, the only difference would be that it will have 4 inches of cement in that barn throughout, and would have fencing around the outside of that.
The swine or which one?
Swine.
Yeah, okay. Anybody have any questions for Wendy?
The two facilities now that are being built, one is beef and one is swine right now.
Nope, currently the ones that are out there is the sheep and goat barn is on the west side of the show ring building, and the one that they're almost done with right now is rabbit and poultry. So these that we're looking to get approval on are for the cattle barn, which will be the southwest side of the show ring building, and the swine barn, which will be southeast. So,
Do we have the water squared away? I mean, like for washing animals and things like that? I mean, that's
To put
always a
the-
big thing.
to put the lines in, the commission approved that, I think, at the last meeting or
Okay.
2 times ago.
1 or 2 meetings ago it was approved.
Yep.
All right, any other questions, comments from the commission? All right, thank you, Wendy. Any public input on this agenda item? All right, if not, Kristen, will you call the roll?
What motion?
I'd move
Oh,
for
I do
approval.
need a motion.
Move for approval.
Thanks. I got a motion from Schmidt, and it looks like a second from Poppins. Is
Yeah,
that
I'll get off there in a
correct?
second. Yes.
Okay. Now will you call the roll, Kristen?
I sure will. Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. Next item, Tracy?
Good morning, Commissioners. Tracy Humphrey, HR Director. We're bringing to you today a request to approve a reclassification and recategorization of the Planning and Zoning and Geographical Information System Administrative Assistant. It's currently graded at a 105, and we're requesting to move that position that's now currently vacant to go from to a planner and that is only in the Planning and Zoning Department. In the briefing form, I share some facts and vettings about the history of the position and why we're bringing that request. In short, we have a position now that has been made vacant due to a resignation, and we're looking at the needs of that department and determined that an administrative assistant, while good and helpful, is not going to be able to bring everything that Toby would like to see in that department. So we go through sort of the changes that have occurred and the volume that they've had, and so we have asked that a planner position will allow them to increase the volume and handle the complexity of the requests and permits. At the bottom of the facts and vettings, I share sort of exactly what the changes are. So we're asking for a recategorization from the admin assistant to a planner, to remove the salary split that is currently GIS and planning and zoning to be 100% under planning and zoning, and then reclassify the position from a 105 to a 109. Part of the request today is that there would be an increase of cost, so that's outside of the budget time. We're estimating it'd be about $9,000 to $15,000 due to the change in classification and education requirements. However, Planning and Zoning has felt that there will likely be cost savings in their fee and contracts line, as well as when we've looked at how long it took us to find a planner in the past. It typically is about 3 to 4 months from the time that we post that position to recruiting or to filling it. So likely there wouldn't be much of a cost increase because of the time it would take for recruiting. I do have both Toby and John here as well, if you guys have any other questions.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Tracy?
So this is an increase to the county between 9,000 and 15,000?
Correct.
Can you, that's kind of a wide margin. Why the wide margin? Is the thing more specific, like 12, or can you give me a more?
Yeah, so so part of our hiring process is that the department head has the jurisdiction to hire from a step 1 to a step 5. So let's say we get a planner who's right out of school, they would start at a step 1, so it would be a $9,000 increase to the county. Whereas if we find a planner who's more established, they may be hired at like a step 3 or 4 or even 5, and that's where that up to $15,000 difference would be.
Any other questions for Tracy? All right, does anybody have questions for other staff, Toby, or is there anything you wanted to add, Toby? Okay. So, and I'm just throwing this out there, so I'm assuming that the administrative assistant did things that the planner is not gonna do, so who's gonna pick up the slack on the administrative type
Great
stuff?
question. I'm actually going to ask Toby if he doesn't mind coming to speak on that, since it'll directly affect his position.
Thanks. Great question. So John and I have assumed those duties, those administrative duties.
You guys are just gonna divvy them up?
Yep, yep.
And then this person would actually report to you, correctly?
Correct, yep.
Right, okay. All right. Other questions from anybody? All right. Thank you for that. Any public input on this agenda item? All right, if not, can I get a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I'd offer a motion to approve this change.
Thank you. I've got a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Got a motion from Poppins, second from Aaron's. And then we call the roll, Kristen.
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then we'll circle back to what was item 11 on our consent. It's now on our regular business. The agreement with Henry Carlson. Drew, do you want to come on up?
Morning, Commissioners. Drew DeGroat from the State's Attorney's Office. I requested this item be pulled from the consent agenda due to the fact that there's some scrivener errors Namely, contact information needs to be updated. When the agreement was originally being drafted, Joe Meter was listed as the contact person. We're going to update that to Steve Rasmussen. But other than that, all the substance of the contract will remain the same.
All right.
Drew, has Dick Strasburg approved of this?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
All right, anybody have any other questions for staff? All right, thank you. Any public input on this agenda item? All right, if not, can I get a motion, please?
I'll offer the motion to approve.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, will you call the roll, Kristen?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes, motion carries. Next on our agenda is opportunity for public comment. If there's anyone in the audience wishing to come up, now would be the time to do so. All right, if no public comment, are there any commissioner reports today?
Madam Chair, we have a couple of items. I would invite my fellow commissioners to, I brought rolls for all of you this morning as we are celebrating a event, a birthday. So
How old are you, Schmidt?
old enough to know better, too young to resist. How about that for, how do you like that for an answer?
All right,
Anyway,
Different one.
well, happy birthday.
Anyway, couple of things I can report. We got some meetings coming up for the County Association, District 4. I think we're meeting in Tyndall tomorrow to go discuss, as we normally do, about 6 counties get together and discuss issues. And then there is a executive board that meets later this week. And we had I attended a Zoom meeting of the national board because of being unable to attend. And the interesting thing about the national board, which we discussed, was the pending farm bill. Spent a lot of time on that. We spent time on the PILT money. We spent money on a time that NACO was responsible for getting all counties a minimum of $100,000 because of the public lands and not getting deep in the weeds. And what NACO wants to do is for counties to take of that $100,000 to give back to the to the county board $1,000 or 10%. And then they're going to form a public land institute to study the future of public lands and how they should be utilized. How, if right now, if you're living West River and you have a lot of public lands and you're a cattleman, you can rent so many acres at a nominal fee. And so they're going to study that. They're going to study the PILT issue. They're going to study roads and all the other kinds of things that affect rural counties. So I know that some counties are having a difficult time understanding why they should give $1,000 back. But from my vantage point, they just got $100,000. They got 99 in the sack. So what's $1,000? Wouldn't you trade that for a pretty good rate of return? So anyway, that's all my comment, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that. Anybody else?
Commissioner Schmidt, happy birthday.
You're welcome.
And I also want to say in advance, happy birthday to my grandfather. He'll turn 102 years old 2 days from now on Pearl Harbor Day.
Just think what you have to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have reports?
Madam Chair,
Yep.
from the airport stands, things have moved along quite well now with the weather cooperating to get the apron completed. I think the management that's changed that is making some vast improvements with relationships out there. Definitely a much brighter future, I think, for the users, I believe, that they see in the near future. But a lot of things will be changing here in the next decade or so out there. So a lot of positives going on out there. Did want to inform the board that I did attend a pipeline meeting as a resident, not as a commissioner, to learn some of their safety aspects. Again, I can never vote on it or comment on it, but just want to disclose that I did attend a meeting concerning it. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other commissioners wish to make reports today? All right. If there's nothing else, I'm just say we're going to get our gross maximum price next week. That'll be explained by the Henry Carlson Company at our meeting next week, if anyone's interested in that. But with that, then, do we need an executive session? All right. Can I get a motion to go into executive session, please?
I'll move to go into executive session under sub 1, 3, and 4.
All right. Thank you. Is there a second for that motion?
Second, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. Motion carries. Does anybody need a break? Executive session, please.
I so move, Madam Chair.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. Will you call the roll, Kristen?
Commissioner Aaron's. Yes. Commissioner Gibbon.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. And then can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved. Second.
I've got a motion by Schmidt, second by Poppins. Will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's. Yes. Commissioner Gibbon.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.